John.
Yes, it is. Check out
3, 2. Hey, I'm Guy, and that's John.
Yes, it is. This is our YouTube channel. We need you to subscribe. And also, Guy, check out the podcast, not you, but you, down below in the description.
Hit that like button, too, while you're here. All right, John, piece of news on Wednesday, the latest on the 49ers quarterback situation. Kyle Shanahan said Jimmy Garoppolo threw on Tuesday, a little limited on the side, so that allowed him to do well enough that he would be limited in Wednesday's practice, in which Kyle Shanahan said that Trey Lance will get a majority of the reps, and then who knows, maybe Jimmy Garoppolo's role can grow a little bit by Thursday. What do you think of this latest installment in the who will be the quarterback of the 49ers news?
I think it behooves old Kyle Shanahan to just do exactly what he did last week, but even make it a little closer with the Los Angeles Rams, because obviously they're approaching this game. They have to win. I think you have to assume the Saints are going to win. You're playing at the same time, so it's not like you have the knowledge going into the game, even if it was 5-10 minutes, right, of knowing, watching the scoreboard as you're warming up as a coach, and you try to fuck with them a little bit. Now, you know, the Rams, I think they have to prepare for Trey Lance to be the starter, and they have 2.5 games to go off of. Little lucky in the fact that Sean McVay, I guess, you know, Raheem Morris, new defensive coordinator, but a lot of the players, right? Aaron Donald's been there forever. Jalen Ramsey's now been there for years. Rapp's been the starter now for a couple years. Like, a lot of their core guys on defense have played Jimmy Garoppolo. So it's not, you know, an uncommon individual, right? Uncommon player for them. Where Trey, you would have to expect in their practice this week on defense, 70-30 Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe even more, 80-20.
Yeah, maybe more, just given that you know what Jimmy Garoppolo does. You know, I wonder if the challenge becomes, if Jimmy's the quarterback, then maybe you spend more time on some Deebo Samuel run plays than you would when Trey Lance is the quarterback.
He ran it last week, though.
Yeah, we still saw it. You know, it's true. This is where, if you're the Rams, you just, again, good teams have better players. Having really good players, just really talented players like Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, like these types of guys might help you just in spots where there's less that you're just a little off in terms of preparation, right? Just good players cover up. I'm not going to say mistakes, but just some of the uncertainties of, trying to prepare for two quarterbacks. Kyle Shanahan said it. Like, I'm not telling you guys before Sunday who the quarterback is going to be. I don't know today, but even if I did, I'm not going to tell you. And I think any coach just, you have a limited amount of practice time. If I can get them to spend 8 minutes on something that they wouldn't otherwise spend 8 minutes on, or 10 minutes or one period or whatever, let's make them do that. And I mean, that's the fact of what Kyle is doing. Now, the real meat of it is he in his mind, does he think it's a possibility that Jimmy could be ready to play on Sunday? It wouldn't shock me if in his mind he's open to that possibility. But I go back to what he said the other day, which is, if Jimmy's 100%, of course I'd go with Jimmy. But we all know that Jimmy Garoppolo is not 100% or close to 100%.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I think if you put yourself in his shoes, if Jimmy was healthy, he'd start him. Too big of a game, too much unknown.
When you say healthy,
do you
mean, are you talking about the 100% scenario or just healthy enough to play?
I mean, healthy, if he's like 50, 60%, no. But if he's throwing the ball and it looks completely normal, and he's like, hey, I'm in a little pain, but you can't notice the difference as a coach or a play caller, to me, he would start, because
I agree.
It's hard to not like root for Trey Lance because of the ceiling and what you want. But if you take a step back and you remove the emotion, you have to say with a straight face that it would be borderline, I don't want to say impossible, but he's a heavy underdog for a reason in a game against a team that's really good.
Yeah. No, I still expect Trey Lance to play. And I don't know what percentage he would need from Jimmy to get Jimmy to play. Like you said, it's probably not a percentage. It's just, can you throw with pain, but throw normal and make all the plays we need you to make? But I wonder what Kyle Shanahan, I think the real question I would have for Kyle Shanahan is, if we get truth serum in him, is like, did you walk away with some of the plays that Trey made against the Texans frustrated that he didn't do the same thing that Jimmy would have done, like, a half second into the snap, or pleased with how he, after he might have made a mistake in a read or a decision, didn't pull the trigger, then made up for that with his athleticism, the throw to Ayuk from the goal line out to the right sideline, the throw he made to Sherfield after he probably should have dumped it down to Kittle in the flat. Like, did Kyle come away going, all right, this is why he's here, or this is why he's here, but it's also why I can't go to him with full confidence at this point? And it's probably that.
Yeah, I mean, I think early on in the season, if this game would have been in September, I think it would have been much easier to see the big picture. I think it's more difficult giving the finite potential of this game what's on the line. Because you would say this, if they had beat Tennessee and the injury had happened, but they were able to win that game and they had clinched a playoff spot, it would be a no-brainer to start Trey Lance in this game, have Jimmy keep improving and see if he's ready for the playoff game. Yeah. Trey Lance, like, to me, you and I would be very critical of like that. That would be the play, right? You would just give this guy an extra game. You have nothing to gain, especially if you've already have, the 6th seed wrapped up because you have the tiebreaker with the Eagles. That to me, but I don't even know if that's a lock. Like I think we're still learning. We've never seen Kyle in this situation. Right? One thing has been consistent over the 4.5 years. I guess 4 years and 75%. When Jimmy has been available to Kyle, once, those first couple weeks after he was traded, he's going with Jimmy Garoppolo. That includes Nick Mullins. That includes CJ Beathard. That includes this raw product that he traded a bunch of first-round picks for. Now, it'll be interesting, like, assuming Trey Lance starts this game, let's say they, have the upset, win the game, Trey's solid, does that lock him in for the playoff game? Because I think we would probably both agree that does not.
I'll answer that question after I tell you. Go to Indeed.com/ham to get $75 off your first sponsored job post at Indeed.com/ham.
Yes, do that right now.
I agree with you. I don't think that locks him in, even if he wins this week. But I think it would become I'm not going to call
it'd be hard to win and him making some plays for sure.
Was Kyle telling us he'd be willing to go back to Jimmy under all circumstances if Jimmy's healthy when he said what he said after the game the other day? He might have been. He might have been saying under all circumstances, any game I win right now with Trey Lance, it's awesome that I win it, but it's also kind of a miracle that I win it. He's not as ready as Jimmy is. Jimmy's played in the playoffs. Garoppolo's been to the Super Bowl. But I also think you think about the way Garoppolo played in the playoffs the last time he played, particularly the last the NFC Championship game where he didn't really throw the football. Does he view this as a team that has to play any differently in the postseason? If he's on the road against the Cowboys, let's say, if he's on the road against the Bucks, right? Would he make a different determination about what his offense needs in a game like that, knowing that while Trey could maybe make more mistakes, he could also make more big plays? Or does he end up in a game where he's in the playoffs and Jimmy Garoppolo starts, but he's down 17-7 at the half? And goes, I don't have enough possessions left in this game. I got to get more points faster. Now I go to Trey Lance. I don't know. I think if the Niners lose this game and the Saints don't also lose, and the Niners don't end up in the playoffs, we would get robbed of not just a week of like fun hypotheticals, which obviously we like, but like some real decisions for Kyle Shanahan, not just pregame, but in game.
Well, I just looked up the Rams, and again, it's skewed because in a vacuum, independently, the Niners have consistently beat them. But on the season, they average 27 points a game. And so far in Trey's 2 starts, right, they lost 17-10. And in this game, they won 23-7, but they scored 20 points in the second half. Like, it was hard to score in the first half, right? And really got a little bit lucky away the end of the half played out because they screwed up their 2-minute drive. Then they were able to get the ball back because they had timeouts. How many points would you feel if I say the Niners scored 25 points? Do they win?
You talking about this week?
Yeah.
Boy, they might. They might, but I wouldn't feel good about it. To me, that's probably a 55-45 that they lose.
But that's kind of the range, right? And that's where I think it's going to be difficult against a playoff level team for Trey Lance. One of their scores came in that Monday night game, the pick 6, right? And I know the guy's throwing a lot of picks. And listen, I think everyone that's a fan of him at least has just tempered their enthusiasm toward Matt Stafford this year. But I don't think you can just count on a pick 6 this week.
No,
I think it's possible. Or a fumble 6 or something like that because he's turned the ball over. But I think you got to go in and go, Matt Stafford is just going to play a good game. So what do we need out of our offense and a rookie quarterback? Like, we can't, I don't think like last week, I guess they kicked the field goal halftime, so we're down 7-3. If they got 3 points at halftime, I think the score could be like 17-3, you know, or 14-3. And it just feels you're down at half with a rookie quarterback. The Arizona game was very, very difficult, right? Because they were down with this rookie quarterback, and it just always felt like they were up against the ropes. Yeah. And when you're up against the ropes with top 12 quarterbacks, you don't freak out as much. When you're watching and you don't have that much evidence as a fan, as a coach, as players on the team, maybe players are a little different, but like people on the outside, definitely the coaching staff, you're like, okay, this guy's got to have a good drive here. I hope he can do it, right? I don't know.
Well, you're right. I mean, Trey Lance has a lot of pressure on him right now. Matthew Stafford has a lot on him, but Trey Lance has a lot on him. And the best part, this is such a great experience for Trey Lance. But the playoffs would be an even better one.
Can't wait.